Hey, what's up, everybody? Just a quick update here on this beautiful Saturday. We can see the price is starting to get a little bit of a pullback on the smaller time frames. We'll talk about it, but also remember the downward resistance line. We got the close. We got the close on the 2-day candle. So that is what I like to see. I really am a proud papa. If Bitcoin was my son, you did it. You did it. You got above. You're still not out of the woods yet, but that is the first step into getting, through the retracement levels. So it's good to see that. I would love to see the price stay above this line. Now it's subjective, right? Trend lines are all subjective. You can draw it from wick to wick, right? But I always like to do it on the bodies of the candle. You guys obviously know this this trend line here broke as well, right? So they're just little baby steps. I mean, trend lines obviously are meant to be broken at some point. They are a useful tool, but they are often used for retail traps, right? Because trend lines are basically like a dam, right? So like imagine a dam is allowing certain water in. If you break that dam, there's an ocean of liquidity beyond it, right? So we'll see how, when Bitcoin stepped its toes into this water here, how it reacts. Obviously we have this resistance right here, which is another accomplishment, right? So not only did we break above this downward resistance line right here with this beautiful bullish hammer candle, by the way, but we also broke above horizontal resistance, right? We broke above these two closes, which basically is closing above 66,430 or so on a 2-day scale. So I just wanted to highlight that real quick. Now the daily chart, we did that as well. Yesterday, we closed above the resistance, or I should say the 2-day close, or I'm sorry, the daily close back here in sort of late April. So that's really good to see. We got this bullish daily engulfing candle, and now this red candle, right? Remember what we talked about. A lot of times when you have a big candle that breaks and closes above a close, that signals people to go long. But what happens is you have a red candle following it to do the back test, right? So if I enlarge this a little bit, you can see, look at this candle's job here. So let me do it like this. So this candle's job was to get us above this close. This candle's job, right, is to backtest the this breakout line. So that's what we can see here. And sorry, Grandma, I'll have to call you back. I'm doing a crypto update right now, so we'll talk soon. She's like almost 90 years old. She usually calls me because her Netflix isn't working. Not to say, hey, how are you doing? No, but only to say, hey, come fix this. She lives up the street. Okay, so we got that complete. Let's take a look at the smaller time frame. Okay, let's go even smaller than that. Well, first of all, we had 5 waves here, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you can see this 5th wave barely broke the top of this. That's kind of how you know, okay, we're probably going to relax for a little bit, right? I mean, you could see this wave, right? Here's the resistance. This wave smashed through it, right? It was it had some good velocity. met up some resistance, had another breakout, but you can see it's starting to, the breakouts are starting to wane down, right? And that typically is the case when you have fifth wave. So let's see, is there bearish divergence? Yes. So you can see right here from this high, right? Price is rising, RSI is falling. So that's bearish divergence, right? Which is typical between the fourth and the fifth wave. So that's kind of how I like to trade, right? Is when I see that fifth wave come in. If I see, let's see, do we have any nines? Right, we had a 9 right here on the 4-hour chart. And you can see the price pulled back perfectly. And it landed right on the green dots, right? So this was your wave 1, wave 2. And then you had a wave 3. And it actually worked out pretty well. This 9 called the wave 3. So then we had a wave 4, but we didn't get a 9. And that's okay, right? You know, chances are you're not going to get it every time. But at least we have the fifth wave, and at least we have the divergence to say, hey, you might want to take some profit. Not on your investment, not on your hodling, not financial advice. I'm just talking about short-term 1 hour, 4-hour trading. Okay, so when we go to the 1-hour chart, let's take a look here. So I like the fifth wave because we went up one. The fifth wave, right, has 5 waves. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we broke out, right? Price came down. It back tested this high. It came back up, and now it's kind of going flat in a base here. So it's building a base on top of this support line, right, which was previous resistance. So we broke above the resistance. We back tested it as the support. And now we're going sideways. So the question is, will this range hold, or do we need a bigger pullback? Well, let's zoom in and take a look at that. So if I go down to let's go to the 15-minute chart. You can see, right? Actually, let me zoom out again and put this right here, so we can understand that's the resistance. And then you can even see, look at this. We have an inverse head and shoulders here. And just for fun, what was the measured move? Now, I can measure it from this peak, but I'm actually going to measure it from in here because there's more price area in here. So this area is more respected than that area there. So I'm going to measure it from here up to about there, right? It's never going to be perfect, ballpark it. But you can see we almost hit that measured move. So I would say that's close enough. So now, this inverse head and shoulders is now, right, it was validated, so it's no longer useful to us. So now we're just using this yellow box as our local support. So what happened here? Well, let's see. We broke out here. I mean, we broke out here. Why? We back tested. But look at this. We have a 9 on the 15-minute. So that was a good trade right there. Right? We came all the way down. We have the 9, but that's not enough. We need more. Well, we also back tested this area here. Well, that's a good thing, right? So that's two different points. What other points do we have? Let's see. Let's go down even closer. This is just, understanding sort of the thought process here. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and all the way down to 5. So we have 5 waves. We have the 5th wave back testing the previous support, and we have a 9 on the 15-minute chart, right? So that right there would be a nice little trade, right? So how do you know when to take your profits? So let's say we had 5 waves down, we back tested it, we had a 9, Here's your red dots, right? We broke above the red dots with a bullish engulfing candle. So that kind of activated it. And then we came all the way up into a retracement, right? So typically you want to sell the retrace. Let's see, where did it land on the retracement here? So if I pull it down, well, would you look at that? We almost had a perfect we had a perfect 702 retracement. So then you take your profit, right? It doesn't matter if you didn't get a 9 sell. You're at the 702, so reduce your risk. So this has nothing to do with the Bitcoin price per se. I'm just kind of giving you sort of a little insight on how to go about maybe trading on your own, or looking how this type of behavior works here. This is my style. Obviously, there's different styles, but I find this one works for me. So why not share it with the world, right? I could keep it a secret. I could charge people money, right, to teach them. And, there's trading classes out there. There's Discord. Like a lot of people I've noticed that know how to trade, they'll have a Discord, right? And they'll charge people money to get trading calls, and that's fair. That's completely fair, and I totally respect that. Maybe I might even do that one day. I don't know. But for now, I'm just kind of, spreading it out there. I'm not giving trading calls, but I am starting to lean more, like when times are boring. Like right now, we're consolidating here. We've been in a fourth wave correction for a while. So, I still want to produce content, right? So there's always something to talk about as far as the price goes. So yeah, that's kind of what I just wanted to explain there. But as far as the price goes, back to business, right? By the way, I didn't take this trade, and I didn't take it, right? I'm just showing you examples of what we could have did, right? Everything, obviously, hindsight 2020. But what was not in hindsight is these 5 waves with this 9. So that was actually a decent setup. Another setup here is, so like, okay, so now, like, who cares about the past, right? So what about the future? Is there any setups for the future? Well, what I'm looking at right now is this whole thing. What is that? Well, to me, we had 5 waves down, and we had 1, 2, 3 waves up. And look at that. The third wave actually met with the 9. So theoretically, if we bought here, hold, come up, have the 9, then sell, right? There's just different ways you can do it. So, but anyway, we have the 9. We have the 9 sell, right? This is a reversal on the 15-minute chart. But look at this. We also had a 9 buy. But look what happened. It was a false thing, right? It didn't work out. Why? Because not all 9s work, right? And you can see that this 9 right here was in the middle of this trade, right? So let me go back here. Where's the 9 at exactly? So it was right here. Okay, so now let me zoom in and I can show you the wave structure, right? And that 9 was sort of, it wasn't complete. To me, it looks like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 3, and then 1, 2, or actually 1, 2, 3. So this whole thing, right, was most likely an A, B, C. So you have the 9 buy right in the middle of this B wave here, right? So, I mean, that's kind of why you don't want to do it in the middle. You kind of want to wait until you have a better picture there. So, but the main thing I wanted to say is that this kind of looks to me like maybe either an ABC or some type of flat. So let me go to the 5 minute. Let me take that off and just look at the candles. We have A, we have B, and now it looks like we're getting C. So the question is this C? And is this a 1, 2, and now we're going? I don't know. I'm not sure about that. Because if that's the case, then it's probably a running flat. Some type of running flat where you have A, you have B. Now, normally the B sort of would take out the top right here and then come down and then not take out the bottom. So you have an A, B, C, right? It's a running flat, and now you're building a base here, right? And then you go. That is idea number 1. Doesn't mean it's the best idea, but that's sort of the idea for what I have now. So a running flat. So I want to see something in here that tells me, any other clues that we can get. The other idea is to say that this is just a plain old ABC. So what I'm going to do is take a Fibonacci retracement from the bottom of this wave all the way to the top of the wave. And you can see, I mean, we've had a 382 retracement, nothing substantial, right? Nothing big at all. So what we could see, right, is an A, we have a B, and now we're working on wave C. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Let's get down here to the 50, to the 618, basically to that golden ratio in here, right? Somewhere back testing this area, right? And yeah, that would be an ABC. It would be a little big. Maybe it won't be that big, but we'll see. And then continue higher. So that's kind of the thought process there. Now, when I zoom out a little bit further, we do have 5 waves in this whole thing, right? So what I can do is put a retracement from here to the top, right? So if it really wanted this as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B, C, right? We can actually come back down to back test this area. So that's kind of what I'm waiting for. Number 1, is this an ABC continuation? Or, right, because an ABC is correcting a specific wave. So do we get a micro ABC that corrects this wave that sends us higher? Or do we get a larger ABC that's correcting this entire wave before we go higher? So different corrections are, so when you see a correction, right, like this correction here was correcting, so you can see this A, B, C. That correction was correcting this wave, right? This correction, A, B, C, was correcting this wave. But what about the whole thing? What about the whole enchilada, right? You have this whole thing, right? These are subwaves in this whole wave here. So when does this whole wave get a correction is what I'm saying. Well, you kind of need 5 waves. And we do. We have 5 waves. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this could be the beginning, and corrections take on many forms. Sometimes you have an ABC, a regular correction. The back test here has a nice 50% 618 correction, right? Like I say, you take this wave, you cut it in half, somewhere around there. Other corrections are more like running corrections where it doesn't really give you time to get in, right? Because sometimes it'll be a very shallow correction. It'll just kind of be playing around here and then boom, go, right? So this whole thing was the correction, right? So A, B, C was a correction, right? So that could be the case as well. And that's why trading is hard, right? Don't let anyone tell you it's easy. A lot of guys will post on Twitter and things like that and saying, oh yeah, we knew this and that. They didn't know. right? You have probabilities, you have ideas, and sometimes they work out, sometimes they don't. So, I mean, it's all about seeing what's probable and basically minimizing your risk and looking for the proper setup. So, for example, like this could be A, B, C, right? This could be some type of three-wave move, and this move here is some type of flat, right? That could be some type of flat, which means that this whole wave could be part of something bigger, which is 1, 2, this is 3, this whole thing is 4, and then we get 5. So this whole thing could be part of a fourth wave, right? And that's the tricky part about trading, especially the smaller time frames. That's why, you kind of want to trade depending on the style, wave by wave, or things like that. And a lot of times you don't have to know what it's going to do. You don't have to know. You just you wait for the signal, and maybe you're only in the trade for a day, maybe 2 days, maybe a week, maybe a couple hours, right? Depending on how it's set up to be. So just a little side note there, but this here, the reason why I think it looks awful corrective. Yeah, we do have 5 waves, but it kind of looks like maybe a diagonal or some type. That's why, let's look at a different chart so we can see if we can get anything clear. Let's look at theta here. So theta, honestly, I only have 3 waves. I have 1, 2, 3. So maybe this is some type of fourth wave here. Now we're going to have to figure out how this wave shapes up. You can see, yep, there's the divergence there. The bearish divergence. See how the RSI is going down? The price is going up. And now the price is going flat, which is telling me this is starting to round out here. Potentially, right? Now, if the RSI gets down deep enough, right, then you're going to have hidden bullish divergence. So from like, and we already do have hidden bullish divergence. So you can have a mixture of both. So from this line here, I don't really like hidden bull as much as regular divergence. There's regular divergence and hidden bullish divergence. Hidden bullish divergence, it has its moments, but I honestly like regular if I had to choose which one would be stronger. You could see the hidden bullish divergence from here to here, right? This price is lower, this price is higher. Whereas on the RSI, this price is higher, this price is lower on the RSI. So that's hidden bullish divergence. So what do you do in a situation like that? Well, you just got to wait. You just got to wait. Now, there's so many different things, that we can look at. But look at this. To me, on the smaller time frame, looks like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Looks like some type of diagonal. And this looks like an ABC. And now we're building a base at the bottom of it. And you can see these dojis, right? So the dojis are coming from this move down. So we had the move down, and now we're going sideways. So the move down, right? And now we have these dojis going sideways. So either this is going to be, that's it, right? That's all we get here. And this is forming, this is the fourth wave, right? So, because, first of all, you got to know if the third wave is done, and it looks done. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So that's the third wave. So that's 1, okay, and that's 2, and that's 3. So now we're waiting for wave 4. So what is wave 4 doing? Well, it kind of looks like a flat. So let's zoom in on this right here. And let's see if we could do a little bit of work on this wave. So you could see this wave took out the top here, right? That was a trap, right? And like I've always said, B waves are the traps. So we came down, right? And then we came back up, took out the top. So what do we call that? It could be some type of flat pattern, or just an ABC, right? That's what it is. A, B, and now we're in C. So it's the C wave has a three-wave shape like this. So I actually want to see this come up like this and then come down and finish. And that would make me happy, because that would give me the ABC, right? And it would give me the C leg would have 5 waves. So I think this is going to go up. Now, it could be already finished as well. It could be, just a regular ABC, right? A regular 3-wave move. So the way is if we start to break this top in here, right? Or even this zone. If we start getting in here, then it's going to look less likely that that's the case. But I would imagine something like this. We come back down, we take out the low, then we build a base in here, then we go. Right? So that would be how I would like to see it. And then, right, what you have is wave 5. And this whole thing, either an ABC flat, expanded flat, or this is a 3-wave move, right? And we're going to go up there. So that would be wave 4. So yeah, that's kind of how I'm looking at that. Now that's just one idea, right? I mean, there's many different things that could happen. And you could say, well, if there's so many ideas, and how is it useful? Well, that's the whole thing, right? That's the part where we got to learn how to figure that out, right? And the more you do it, the more you get used to seeing things like, you know what, I've seen this before. I've seen this wave. It looked like this. Let me go back in time and look at and see what it did. So you go back in time, you can see, okay, this wave did this. So maybe it might do something like that, right? So a lot of times it's like, you're just a lion and you're just laying there and you're waiting for your prey to get to you rather than you chasing it, right? So, that's just the way it is. So, and then also this could be finished, right? This might not be a 4 and a 5. So we might not get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This might be just 1, 2, 3. And this could be an A, B, C, and that's it. Now we're going down. That could totally happen, right? That's why when you're in the middle here so you could see this wave here is retracing this wave here. So we're in the middle. So we're at a really interesting area. So that's why it's important, right? So for me, I wouldn't be trading this. I would wait. I would wait to see. Unless I'm scalping, then it's different. But when you're in the retracement levels, that's the most dangerous spot. So I could put this down here, right? Or actually, really, I would put it up here, because it's really retracing this whole move down. And you can see exactly where we're at. We're right at the 786. So I'm glad we're in the right area, right? We're in between the 786 and the 618. I mean, we are smacked in the middle of that retracement level. So we really, and we're coming off of, potentially a wave 4. So either this is an ABC and it's finished and we're going down, right? Because we had this move down and then we retraced it, right, with an ABC pullback. Now we're going to continue down. Or what we have is a 1, 2, 3, 4, right? We're consolidating in a wave 4 in the retracement levels, getting ready for the wave 5. And the reason why this wave is so important is, number one, we're in the retracement levels, right? Because when you're in the, like I've always said, when you're in between point A and point B. You're in the middle of point A and point B. It's always the toughest spot to be in, always. So it's kind of a wait and see situation. So this is why I'm saying this is at a pivotal point, because either two things are going to happen if we break out. Number one, we're going to get through the retracement levels. And number two, that's going to give us 5 waves. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now that's the price of theta. Now when I look at something like XRP, you can say, well, I don't care about XRP, but it's important to see what it's doing so we can kind of, because every chart is telling a story and we have to, hear what they have to say. And XRP is a big cap coin, so it means things. So with XRP, we do have 5 waves, right? We have a 5-wave shape. That doesn't mean XRP is more bullish than Theta. That just means it's got a clearer picture. And what I see with this is a diagonal, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It looks very clear to me, which means if I draw, like a trend line here, right? You can kind of see it's a rising wedge, and you can see we're breaking below that rising wedge, right? So it's actually, I know a lot of people could say that's bearish, like we're coming down, we retraced a little bit, and now we're going to keep going down. Yeah, that could totally be the case. But when you have a 5-wave diagonal, a lot of times what happens is you'll break the low, you'll come up, you'll have an ABC, something like that, right? And then you go. And then you challenge these retracement levels, right? And then continue on. So that in itself can be part of a larger diagonal or part of a larger wave, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it's always the fourth waves, or it's usually the fourth waves that have the challenging moment, right? So if I had to say the toughest wave is figuring out where wave 1 is understanding what wave 4 is going to do, and then also knowing if it's a B wave, right? Because those are the 3 things to know the most. So that's kind of what I'm thinking here. We need some type of pullback to correct this 5-wave move. Now, it doesn't have to correct, right? It doesn't have to. This could be something else, right? It could be a small correction, right? Because we already have 1, 2, 3. We already have a 3-wave move. But to me, that 3-wave move is only correcting this wave based off the size. And that's another thing too, is understanding how big a wave is compared to how the correction is. So basically, is it symmetrical with its counterpart? So again, I would just put a Fibonacci here to here, and we did it. We hit it. We had a 618 retrace on that wave. So if it's going to continue higher, it should do it momentarily quick, right? It should do it soon. So we should probably flatten out here and then continue higher, right? Or this is going to keep going down. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we come up for B, and then we come down for C. And then you would measure it, maybe not that big, but you would measure it from the bottom of this wave to the top of this wave, right? So what would that be? The golden ratio, somewhere around here, right? We don't want to break that 702. We really, really want to stay above 49 cents, or actually stay above 50 cents. So, boom, 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 boom. That would be a nice area to consider going long. So anyway, this is challenging, right? When you're in a correction, it's very challenging. So don't let anybody tell you trading is easy. It's not easy. It's hard. Trust me, it's very hard. But it's also, once you get the hang of it, it's actually not so bad. The hard part would be just managing your risk and understanding where you are in a specific wave. That's sort of the challenging part. But, correction trading, it could be challenging, right? Like, for example, like this could be wave 1, wave 2. Well, how come this didn't go into wave 3? It stopped out here and it got rejected. Well, that's just the way it is, right? And then when you look a little bit closer, well, the reason why is because it was only 3 waves. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Right? 1, 2, 3. So is this another 1, 2, 3? It could be, right? It could be a part of a bigger correction. So, but I'm not going to get into all that. I mean, there's a lot of different things. So I like to just try to keep it as simple as possible. So here's total 3. Did total 3. So we came very close at breaking that wave to the downside, but we didn't. So that's good. So we can count this, right, as 5 waves. Right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I want to see some type of 3-wave pullback. It doesn't have to. The reason why I want to see it is so I can have an opportunity, a clear entry, right? Because I'm taking the length of this wave from the bottom of the wave to the top of the wave. And if I'm going to ride this wave, then I want to ride it on the lowest point as possible. So if I get in here expecting the wave to go higher, it could totally do that. But from a risk perspective, right, I want to have a pullback. Now, if I don't get a pullback, it's okay, right? Because that's why you have your HODLing, your investment, your dollar cost averaging position where you're just accumulating, right? If you're spot buying, if you're buying on the spot market, it doesn't really matter too much if you buy it here or if you buy it here. I mean, yeah, it's a little bit of a difference, right? Let's see what percentage that is. That's about a 3%, right? But if you're trading, let's say 5 or 10x, that 4% or 5% could turn into 5, 10, 15, 20, 30% or more, right? If you're doing 5x, it could even turn into 60x, or 60%, I mean. So, that's kind of what I'm saying. So if I open up a position, let's say, $1,000, or let's say $100, and I put that at 10x, and I buy it now, and then we go all the way back down here, then I'm going to be pretty much screwed because I got almost wrecked because of how much I lost, right? So just to give you an idea here, if we go down to the 618 about, let's say, 3.5%, then you got to bust out a calculator. I'm not really good with math on the top of my head, but 3.5%, right? From $100, that's nothing. That's only, what is that? Like you lost maybe $3.50, obviously, right? So you only lost about $3.50 from a $100 move. But if you're doing leverage, right, now you're losing a lot more. So just double, triple, quadruple that, whatever amount you're doing. So that's why I say, hey, I want to wait for a pullback. Not because like I want to be a cheapskate on my spot account. Like I don't really care the difference between these two. If I'm going to buy, if I'm long, I'm buying, right? But then the other side of it is, well, I don't want to miss this wave because if the belief is that we're going to break out and we're going to go to the moon and this is going to be a bullish setup, then you're going to want to be in the market when this thing goes, because you could wake up one morning and it's already gone. That's kind of the worry, right? When you go to sleep and you wake up and it's like, man, I missed it. I mean, I'm sure we've been there before. Or you buy the night before and then you wake up and you're like, man, I should have waited till today to buy. So that's kind of like the psychology you got to figure out with yourself. Number one, what do you care about more? Being in this wave and making sure you don't miss out on the big run up? Or do you care more about protecting your position and waiting for confirmation before that wave breaks out? Or do you want to just, continue to dollar cost average and not really care one way or another? And that's kind of the mindset I like to say, like, hey, if this is going to be like this and we're going to come down here, that's fine. I don't mind buying here, right? As long as you're not buying the tops, right? If you you had a big correction, start to add. You have another correction, you add more. You have another correction, you add more, right? That's the way I see it. So, it doesn't really matter if we go down. For my investment perspective, I'm doing that. But for trading, you got to be extremely careful where you pick your spots. Because if you think we're going to go up and you buy here and then we go down, you just got liquidated. So that's why you got to be and that's the interesting thing about it, is it teaches you to be disciplined. It teaches you to wait and to be patient. And even though it's very difficult, because we don't want to miss it, right? We don't want to miss this life-changing opportunity. But to me, you're never going to miss it as long as you're a hodler, right? But if you want to make it a day job, if you want to quit your job, which I don't recommend, but if you want to quit your job one day and be a trader, then you have to prove to yourself that's what you can do, right? Because for me, I don't work a job anymore. I just stay at home. And sometimes it sucks, because it's, I'm not getting a lot of exercise. That's why I got to motivate myself to go to the gym and things like that. But then again, I don't like to deal with traffic, right? I had to drive 45 minutes to get to work in California traffic, and that wasn't fun. But, I get to stay home with my son and things like that. So there's ups and downs, no pun intended. Yeah, it's the stressful part about it is just waiting for the setup. That's the stressful part, is waiting. Like, when's it gonna happen? When's it gonna happen? So a lot of times when you're stuck in a range, we just trade the microstructures. So it's not a lot of money, but at least you can increase the leverage a little bit. But yeah, that. I just kind of wanted to explain kind of my thinking on certain aspects of what we do here, since there's nothing really going on in the market. So let's see what else we got here. Ethereum. Now Ethereum looks interesting. It looks different to me, because it seems like, I was gonna say 1-2-1-2, but to me it looks like only 3 waves, right? Because we took out this low here. So this 4th wave needs to figure itself out. And since it's Saturday, I would expect probably Sunday, Monday, and maybe even Tuesday will be kind of a correction, and then hopefully by Wednesday, Thursday, we can be on our way again, because this is do or die right here. When I look at the downward resistance line here, actually let me go to the daily chart. We're right there. So this is like the most critical area, and you can see we're down here at the bull market support band. So for an investment hodling perspective, this is a great area to accumulate in here. But from a trading perspective, right, you got a lot of upside potential. You know, you're right here, you know, you just bounced off support, but you want to see a little bit of a correction on the microstructure before. So, I mean, depending how you draw the trend line, now, obviously you could be more conservative and say, nope, we haven't broken out, and that's fine. You could say that. On the other hand, you can say, well, I want more touch points, right? I want more touch points. So, you know, from here, I get to touch this one, and even this right in here. So these two candles right here. The only one that deviated away was this candle here. So it is going through the bodies of the candle, and that's why I don't put too much weight on it. So I would just move it out a little bit. Now on some of them, right, let's see, total 3. On total 3, we already did breakout, I believe. Yeah, so we got the breakout, right? So that's why I'm more inclined to say Ethereum is more like right there. So usually when you break the downward resistance line, that's usually a good indicator that we're going to make our way up into a retracement. So the big, you know, so remember what I've been saying is the hard part is you take point A and point B. The hard part is right here. We're not at the hard part yet, right? We're at the easy part, right? This is the time. All in here was the time to load up. So what I'm looking for is to get 1, 2, which we got, and I want to see a big third wave here. And then I want to see the fourth wave come in at the retracement levels, and then the fifth wave getting us the heck out of there. Now, it's not going to happen in a straight line. It's not going to happen today or tomorrow or even next week. There's going to, like when I zoom in, there's going to be a lot of subwaves in there and a lot of corrections, right? So we have 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, right? This could be a 1, 2, 1, 2 right here. Then we come up for 3. We pull back down for 4, then come up for 5, right? So it could take its time. And it probably will take its time. As you know, when you break the top of the wave right here, things go very fast. It happens quick. But when you have to work through this and this and this and this, that's when things move slow, right? But you kind of want this wave to be as fast as you can so that it doesn't look corrective, right? Because we don't want this turning into a B wave. We don't want it turning into something like this, right? Some type of B wave where we come down. So we want it to have an impulse. But I think that's pretty much it. Let's see, is there anything else we can take a look at here? Theta versus Bitcoin. Theta versus Bitcoin, I'm waiting. Want to see this line break. I mean, we're right there. We're right there on that line. So, yeah, that would be nice to see. V-chain, you can see, you know, we broke out of that. Kind of looks like a diagonal here. 1, 2. I guess, yeah, okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2. Let's, yeah, this is the moment right here. We need to start accelerating, right? Once this first initial wave here, one, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then go. So we're getting the dump, which is good. right? I mean, yesterday and the day before, we talked about this potentially coming to an end here because of its shape. Now that trend line hasn't broken. This trend line has. So that's good. We're getting the dump. It's good to see that. Let's come on down a little bit more. Come back up. Come back down. Then let's ready to rock and roll. Looking at Phantom here, we got a big breakout. So that's nice to see, right? It broke from its range in here, which that's kind of the early signal we want, right? We want to see coins start breaking these ranges. So when I look at, engine, we haven't broke the range. When I look at, sand, we haven't, like Theta, right? We haven't broken the range. SHIB, we haven't broken the range. Total 2, we haven't broken the range, right? Uniswap, we're almost trying to break it. We're right at the top here. So going back to Phantom, right? This is a sign that's good. This is what we want to see. We want to see this, right? So if Phantom can do it, then that means other coins can as well. So let's see. Yeah, so this was a nice, this was an ABC here. Boom, 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 right? And then we developed our base down in here, and now we're starting to break it. And it kind of looked like a Wyckoff in here. Broke the base. So that's a good thing, right? We broke out. So now, if Phantom can do it, let's see if we can get others to do it. Zill hasn't broken it, but a lot of them have broken their downward resistance line, right? Because it kind of looked like a descending channel or triangle, which usually breaks down, but we actually broke the top. ZRX broke the range in here. That's good. Big impulse. That was a pretty big impulse there. That's a pretty big wave. And I guess some of them break more because they've had a steeper correction, but let's see, from the top of that one there, yeah, that's a big pump there, 180% from where we are on the other charts. This is Bitcoin versus the British pound. It looks pretty much the same. Polkadot, haven't really broken the range. This chart basically says, hey, if XRP, this is basically all the altcoins, like outside the top 10 versus XRP. So if this goes up, that means the alts are winning. If this goes down, that means XRP is winning. We are at drastically overbought levels. I mean, usually when we get up here, are we going to keep going, or are we going to break down? That'll be interesting to see. So here's the others. So basically, this is actually just as important as total 3. And we can see, let's look at the weekly real quick. I haven't looked at this in a while. We are still holding a nice base. I mean, look at this bull market. I mean, that's why it's so powerful. I mean, we came right down to the bull market support band. Test 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, 6 weeks. We've been testing the bull market support band for 6 weeks. Non-stop, over and over and over, which is that's a good thing, right? Because look what happened the last time we did that, right? We broke out and we were testing it all through here, and we continue to go. And then you can see right here on XRP, Same kind of thing that happened over here. It's like the fractal, right? I mean, you can see it. We broke out, we had the drop down, and look how many weeks we traded here. This was actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 weeks going sideways in here before the big breakout. So, you know, take a mental screenshot of that, right? Take a look at that. And now look at this. So this chart is all of the altcoins, including Theta, including a lot of them that are outside the top 10. So same thing. We had the dump. We had this bullish correction here. Maybe it goes on for 10 weeks, right? XRP did. So 6. So we have 7, 8, 9, 10. So we have 4 weeks left if that's the case. I don't think that's the case, though. I think it'll be quicker than that. But you never know. So, and then what did XRP do? It just blasted off like that. So that was a good example. But anyways, guys, that'll do it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. Almost at 2,500 subscribers. I can't believe it. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate all of your comments. I see them all. I might not get to respond to them, but I do see them. So if you have any questions, if you have any coins you want me to take a look at, I see the, you know, some of the comments, so I'll write it down. So if you have a coin, I'll just add it to the list, and we can take a look at it on the next rapid fire video. As far as the price goes, we're still consolidating very, very tightly in here. I mean, we're just waiting. Like you saw Phantom, right? What did it do? It broke out. So if, you know, I'm sure there's others like Phantom that did that. So what we want to see for others is come up and break out. So as soon as we get that breakout, then that's just another step. Then basically, you know, you get to the final test, right? So the first test is easy, or it's not easy, but it's the first test. We're testing it. The second test is building the range. The third test is breaking the range. The fourth test is getting through the retracement, and the final test is to get above the all-time high, or the swing high. So yeah, I will be here witnessing history alongside all of my crypto brothers and sisters, and we will definitely get to ride this wave, and we will not miss it. So until next time, I will catch you guys on the next one. Cheers.